Looking at the poster for Bigfoot versus zombies, you would think this is gonna be awesome. A huge beast towering over a horde of zombies. But then you find out this was made by the same guy who did Frozen Sasquatch. And that's when you realize what you're getting yourself into here. This is gonna be low budget, made quick, and cheap. Right from the title screen, you know what we're getting into here. The picture of Bigfoot was clearly stolen from Planet of the Apes. As for the suit, it's what you would expect. Bad. Now we're at a body farm, which is exactly what it sounds like. They have a bunch of bodies laying around. This is set up for forensic detectives to come in and do a mock investigation, but with real human cadavers. Dr. Peel is in charge of this whole setup with his assistant Renee and Andy. Andy is dumping some barrel full of black goo into the forest. What is it? Well, some injection that the doctor has been experimenting with for months. It's supposed to help break down the bodies faster so they can go through them quicker, because apparently they get paid by the body? I don't know, but instead of breaking down the bodies, it has the opposite effect and brings them back to life. Here's the thing about the zombies. At first, they actually look halfway decent. The makeup and masks are passable, and a lot better than Bigfoot. But you see more and more of them. They go from bad to worse, to Ed Wood level of effects. As they all come back to life, they line up and join together in this shot and do a little dance. I don't know why, but I kinda like it. So anyway, Andy's out there dumping more of the failed serum and spots an area where some of the bodies have been dug up. Little does he know it was the zombies climbing out of their shallow grave. So he assumes it's some wild animal, and he tells Peel, who calls in a big game hunter, to investigate. Meanwhile, two guys, Stu and Ed, are delivering a fresh batch of bodies from the hospital. It's Ed's first day, and he doesn't really know what he's getting into. When they arrive, they pay off the security guard with a copy of Jugs and Thugs, Volume 2. Oh, okay, first off, this is clearly just copy paper. 2, I can only imagine what erotic pleasure waits in something called Jugs and Thugs. And 3, it's Volume 2, so that means the first one was so successful that they made a second. Okay, moving on. These guys drop off the bodies, and the doctor secretly gives them the injection. When the guys head out, their van breaks down, so they're stuck there until they can get it fixed.
Something tells me this is going to be a bad day.
Now for that big game hunter. Duke Larson shows up, and Bigfoot sneaks into the back of his Jeep. Once they get inside the compound, the zombies attack the security guard. Oh no, they stole his red handkerchief. Seriously, the worst excuse for intestines I've ever seen. Well, anyway, he's dead. Moving on. So Bigfoot escapes from the Jeep, Duke is told about the wild animal that is digging up bodies, and Ed and Stu work on the van. Well, Stu takes pills and Ed makes out with Renee. Stu is killed and comes back as a zombie. I don't know why. He wasn't injected with the serum, but I guess if you're killed by a zombie, you turn into one. Anyway, he attacks Ed and Renee, but then Bigfoot comes to save them. The humans run inside, while Bigfoot fights the zombie horde. Or more like just pushes them around. He does get bit, so does that mean he'll come back as zombie Bigfoot? I doubt it. this movie wouldn't do anything that cool. Inside, they try to call the police, but the phones are dead. And of course, there's no cell service. They all rode in with Andy, who's gone missing. Well, spoiler alert, he's a zombie now. And Ed's van is still broke down. So, for now, they're kinda stuck. Duke is still out there, and he's just realized what's going on, and he starts firing off headshots. Eventually, he makes it back to the lab where everyone just found out about Peel's serum, and they aren't too happy about it.
The good doctor here has a serum that he's been injecting into the cadavers,
turning them into zombies.
Inside, we see that the zombies are smart. They light Duke's Jeep on fire and take out the power to the lab. Renee hears a knock on the door and opens it like a dummy, and it's Andy, who is a zombie but doesn't attack yet. He goes inside and begs them all to kill him and says he's in agony, and he's so hungry. He bites Duke on the arm, then injects himself with something and dies. They try to disinfect the wound, but Duke knows he only has a few hours left.
What difference does it make? I'm a goner anyway.
Renee and Ed let Bigfoot into the lab. She can see that he's injured, and she bandages him up. Just then, Duke turns, and Bigfoot takes him out. They now see what an asset this creature can be, and decide to go outside and let him fight off the zombies, so they can make their escape. So that's what they do, but they just watch as he fights them off. Well, he doesn't really fight, the zombies just stare and swat at him, but the humans could be running away or actually helping. But I guess that would be too much work. Eventually, he's overpowered and they run to the garage. Again, they fight a bit and yell at Peel for all this being his fault. He takes Renee hostage, but doesn't see the zombie walking up behind him, who attacks and kills him. Ed, Renee, and Bigfoot make it to Andy's truck. Ed hotwires it like he's Nicolas Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds, and they all get away. They stop to let Bigfoot out so that he can go back to the forest with his family. But they must not have driven that far because the zombies are right there and once again attack. It's time for the final showdown. And, I mean, yeah, it's what you would expect. More shoving. But this time, Ed and Renee actually do help out. As a team, they're able to take down all of the undead. And Bigfoot wanders into the woods. And because they just didn't know how to end this mess, we see a hunter shoot Bigfoot. As he gets closer, it jumps up and attacks him. Is Bigfoot a zombie now? Or was the hunter just a bad shot? I don't know, and I don't care. And that was Bigfoot versus zombies. And it's exactly what you would expect once you hear it's made by the same team that did Frozen Sasquatch. Although I will say I'm happy they didn't add fake snow in post. What can I say that isn't already abundantly clear? This is a bad movie and it's not going to win any awards. But it was never meant to. I can honestly say that there is a place for these kind of movies. You know, the ones that even the Sci-Fi Channel wouldn't play. Sometimes that's what I'm in the mood for. Maybe I want to laugh or pretend like I'm a film critic for an hour and a half and just riff on this movie. It's better than the movies that verge on Bigfoot porn. I'll take this over that any day. Even so, I can only defend it so much, and the average moviegoer would just be disappointing. The acting, the writing, and the jokes all fall flat, and the effects, if you call them that, are horrible. At this point, I would rather you just have a guy with a shirt on that says, "My name is Bigfoot." That would be more believable. The best part of this movie is the poster. And isn't that just the old bait and switch? Bigfoot vs. Zombies is a rough one. I give it 1 Jugs and Thugs out of 4.
Am I going to turn into one of them walking zombies?
Most likely.
Thanks.